industry stories. What's going on? It's your boy B.Woods, and it is about to be the freaking weekend. And of course, we're about to get into these industry stories. And the weekends is always a good time to reflect on the turn up because that's when everything's about to get hella litty and people about to do their thing. And so, working in a business, that's the cool thing about working in the entertainment business. It's just that it always feels like your work and your play is always the same damn thing. I mean, for the most part, obviously you always working, but at the same time you're doing things that you actually enjoy doing. The hardest thing to do is like just when you work in a business, it's staying focused because it's just like you can really get derailed because of first of all you go to a lot of things that people deem as in LA as networking events, and that's like if you ever hear like you look at the location, it's like a club or it's a lounge, and basically general admission, and this considered networking is a very tricky word out here in LA because networking can mean a lot of different things. For the most part, it means it's a party. I would say it's a party. Like there's a lot of different like it's entertainment. You do like music, or if it definitely in the music industry, a networking event is basically a party, and you go up there and see a whole bunch of people that will possibly just promise you things that they're not going to deliver in. But if you coming from out of state, you're going to think that everybody has something to offer you and it's all going to be legit, and everybody's a producer, everybody's an actor, and everybody has the ability to make you $10 million in about 4 weeks time. Promise, promise, promise. And so that's the funny thing, because I know like I talk to a lot of people and that are entertaining the business in the sense of just trying to get on, and the stories that they tell me about the people that they meet. They like, yo, B, I met this guy, and this dude says he has an agency, and this guy has like this opportunity, and then you just kind of you ask questions because you never want to throw people something negative or just say something that's gonna like take out their flame of enthusiasm for like moving forward. Yeah, I met them at this, and then this is always the thing, this networking event. And then you ask them where the networking event is, and it's someplace off of Hollywood somewhere where there's a whole lot of drinks popping, and it's always something that's some bullshit, And so I know like when I first got into the business, doing radio, I would always go to like the parties, and the thing that was so interesting about the parties, it was just like the labels and the radio stations always just kind of party together. So you'd be at the radio station, you'd see everybody that you already knew, what up, what up, what up, and then you would go literally like 40 minutes. You would go somewhere else, you'd make a 40-minute drive, and you would see the exact same people that you just spent 8 hours of your day with, and a few people and mostly people that you knew. And you would think that these people, you haven't seen each other for 10 and 15 years, because people would be hugging each other and high-fiving and dapping, and you're like, whoa, it looks like Thanksgiving and at Big Mama's house. And the reason why people, did it was just because, the more people that it looked like you knew, the more popping it looked like you had it. And so everybody would just always just kind of title it, yeah, it's going to be this networking event. And it wasn't really a networking event. It was just like, it was an excuse to throw a party. It was an excuse to throw a party. It was an excuse to turn up. It was an excuse to kind of invite people that weren't in the business to kind of see what you did and impress people. That's really, really what it was. And so, did it help in the long run as far as like your career and what was happening? No, not at all. Because one, you start drinking a lot just because you're in there's always free drinks, there's free alcohol too. In those situations, you tend to not realize that even though that you're in a social environment, it's still a work environment, and it bleeds so together that you don't even realize that, I'm acting up and my boss is right over there too. So there was one night, I think there was like a Mary J. Blige listening party somewhere, and the bar was open. And I said, hey, you know what? I'm about to just relax a little bit. And so the biggest thing is just that when I drink, I don't realize, my stomach is super slow. So I can have like 3 vodka crayons and not even realize that I won't get buzzed. But by that fourth one, the 3 that I didn't get buzzed from will hit me all at the same time. And so I don't remember much from that night. But I know I was slurring and I was running around and just trying to talk to everybody, thinking that I was as articulate as I was, but I wasn't. And so I was there with one of my good friends, and he was kind of watching over me. He was just like, yeah, and one of his friends actually saw me just almost like pass out. He was just like, man, you gotta grab your man, you gotta grab your dude, because he's really acting up out here. And so he comes up like, B, you good, B, you good? And I was just like, yeah, man, everything is all right, and it wasn't all right. I was just so used to being in those situations, I got way too comfortable, and people were looking at me like super crazy. And so you think that because you're in the entertainment business that those actions don't pay a cost, and they really do, because the next day people are looking at like, did you see what happened? Did you see how B was at the party? Did you see what was going on? He was super sloppy, and it actually affects just how people interact with you, because not only are people going to gossip, but people are going to, not take you as seriously because you get kind of shit-faced at like a function. So it's just kind of, it's a different look, and you always got to be aware. And why that's, I think, relevant is just because when you do entertainment, I think that, especially out here in LA, the hardest thing is just to stay focused, or be in an environment where it's social and still keep your poker face and still try to handle your business, or even just being in a situation where you're misled to think that you're in a productive environment and it's really just a party, right? And they just throw the networking thing on top of it. So whether you're in the business or whether you're out the business or you're trying to get into business, it's just like the party is almost mandatory, but it's how you navigate that and how you're able to know what's going to actually be beneficial or what's not going to be beneficial. And so that's what happens in the industry, and just because like a lot of people, especially on radio, they purposely try to create content by having social events. I remember at iHeart, they would have Christmas parties and people would just get stupid drunk, and then the next couple weeks they'd be out the door. And so it's just like it's just a different look. It's always and not only be out the door, but they'll use them as did you hear so and so live on the radio? They'll tell their whole what happened at the Christmas party, who did it, who they slept with, whose wife they tried to talk to, and get some ratings out of it. And at the same time, they still be out the door. So it's just crazy how entertainment out here is just the social scene. It's a different look. The music game and the acting game it's a different level, and the more that success that you do have, the more you get to introduced to like the level of temptation. So you got to try to stay focused. That being the weekend, that's just kind of something that it just came to my mind in terms of just like what it takes. Is I'm gonna host a party coming up. And so, like, even me, like, when I'm hosting, I try not to, I just keep it cool. I don't drink when I do hosting, just because I want to stay focused. Even though it's a party environment, it's my job to keep the party popping. But I want to stay focused, and I want to make sure that everybody's having a good time. So, that, and if I'm sloppy, then the whole energy is going to be off, and it's just not a good look. So it's always just good to just kind of keep your game face on. And if you do get into situations, it's obviously you can indulge, but don't overdo it. That would be my suggestion. You know what I'm saying? And really try to vet people before you go to these things they call motherfucking networking parties. So turn up. It's the weekend. You probably listen to this and it'll be a goddamn Wednesday and you'll be like, what you talking about? But it'll give you that energy moving forward in the weekend to turn up. But, you know what I'm saying? Be safe when you do it. Industry stories. It's going down. B.Woods, holla.